Alright,
on.
I'm unmuted. Let's. Uh, right. Hello. Yeah. Podcast. Oh wait.
Podcast 850,001. We're back again.
Right. And now that everyone's left and muted their devices, how are you today, this week, Casper?
I'm okay. Yeah, I've not really done that much. I'm just gonna post in my Discord now because I've never actually posted in my Discord, and all the self-promo tab in that, literally the only activity in my Discord. If you're watching, by the way, and haven't joined my Discord, feel free to. It's new. The only tab that seems to be used is the self-promo tab. So I'm debating just getting rid of it.
Where is the link to your Discord? If you're gonna ask.
I'm not entirely sure if it's in my Twitch description.
Then how the hell is anyone going to be able to find a link to your Discord?
By going over to YouTube and going. No, I'll add it to my Twitch after the stream, I think. Because I haven't actually promoted it much. I posted about it once on Instagram. I haven't mentioned it on YouTube yet at all. But yeah, it's been really nice so far. It's nice being able to talk to some subscribers, you know. I don't get a bit of a community going. It's nice. Although most of the people,
yeah, I love the sense of community that Twitch especially for me, but I know it's YouTube for you because you hit 1,000 subscribers recently. I love the sense of community that it creates, having this following. It's why I like streaming on Twitch, because when I don't often get people in my chat, but when I do, it's amazing. And
yeah, I love YouTube so much. I really enjoy doing it. But the thing I don't like is the lack of community. Like, I was speaking to my friend Andy about this. And a couple of months ago, and because he's just hit 10,000 subscribers, and an issue we both have is that people don't often talk in YouTube comments. Like,
they more yell at abuse at each other.
Like, it's lovely, and I'm very, very grateful for my followers, and I never expected to get past 1,000. But I just wish I could put names to the viewers, really. Like, there's a few people that comment, and there's a few people on Instagram that I've spoken to, like Jasper, who watches my Twitch, and we've now become actual friends, I think. Like, we talk to each other on Twitter, and we follow each other on Twitter. Like, he follows my private Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the side of YouTube I wanted when I first started. And I haven't obviously I've made some great friends through YouTube. Like, Andy is one of my best friends. I adore that man. I'm going to his wedding when it eventually happens. And,
oh, yes. Yeah.
And I've met some friends through Chewy Jam. But I've never got a community going. And that's what I'm attempting to do with Discord. Because
it's that sense of interactivity that you don't really get anywhere else. For me, my favorite so far has been Twitch more than YouTube. No one ever comments on anything on YouTube, and if they do, it's usually to hurl abuse at either the creator they're watching or each other. I very rarely see any kind of discussion or comments or anything like that going on in the comments. I just see either abuse or people misunderstanding something or whatever. But in Twitch, I've never really encountered that. Every person I've interacted with in Twitch so far has been really, really lovely.
Yeah.
Like, the people I've met and that I've played games with has been really nice. And the people that have just shown up in my chat and just said hello, whilst they've got a minute. It feels really nice, and it feels like you've got that sort of more of a connection with people. than
Yeah,
YouTube, because
like
I think YouTube people just they watch a video for a little bit and then they click away. I do it too. Like I don't think I comment on anything on YouTube because it's
yeah,
just
I
not a
don't either.
space for it really. You just watch videos. That's all I do. Really.
Jasper is now in my chat after I mentioned that he is the only like friend that doesn't. I know you do Twitch actually, don't you? Jasper does Twitch and understands it a lot more than I do. But I haven't like because I don't play games and stuff. Well, I can't at the moment because my computer is excuse the phrase, a pile of shit. And won't run Streamlabs as well as a game. I'm hoping that when I've got my PC working, I can play some games on Twitch, and I'm going to buy a better webcam as well, because thank you for lending me this one, but it's the quality of a potato.
Yeah, I gave you a free webcam. You can't really complain.
And I need one that's the same as my camera, just for like continuity. Really, it bothers me. And I'd like to be able to record some YouTube videos on a webcam as well on my computer, because I'd like to.
Yeah, or at least hook
like,
up. But your camera, seems like it has the ability to hook up to a computer. However,
it
we
does,
never actually
but
managed to figure that out.
but they make it so difficult to do. Like, it's very difficult. I've attempted it so many times. But I've got some stuff coming up with one of the companies that I work with that I'm not allowed to mention properly yet, which will involve me using a webcam. So, over the next few months, I think. So I will be purchasing one soon.
Yeah.
But another thing that I was actually talking to a group chat with my friends about, literally 10 minutes before we started this podcast, is that I am really struggling to create content that people want, because I've not got the money to. Like, with my channel, I love my channel, I love everything about it, I love the community I've built. But people want sensory toy reviews, people want sensory toy unboxings. And I don't have the money to do the sensory toy lists that people want. Or I can't do varied sensory toy lists like people want, should I say. Because this stuff's expensive. And I don't have that many sensory toys. Everybody that watches me on YouTube, everybody that follows me on Instagram knows that. Because I'm a student, and I've been debating setting up a Ko-fi or a Patreon or something. Purely because I can't really afford to keep on making the videos that I'm doing for very much longer. Like, there's either gonna have to be.
I find a lot of it is incredibly gatekeepy right now.
Yeah.
For not just like, because your thing's very specific with choosing everything, but software. Like, if you want to learn how to use a software, then you need to put yourself in debt by $9,000 a year to go to a college in order to learn that software, where you'll get to use it for free up until the point where you're no longer in that college, and then you have to pay for it, or you have to buy it yourself, which costs so much money. And it's incredibly gatekeepy, and it's incredibly... It's just, you're not allowed to have it easy. You're not allowed to be able to create good stuff without spending a shit ton of money.
Exactly.
And it's all just this big money-making scheme.
And it's the same...
to try and get you on to pay... To keep this loop going of paying money over and over again to... and in the end, it'll just keep you where you are, and you don't really achieve anything by doing it, and it's just demotivating.
Yeah, and it's the same at uni. Like, I am a film student. I'm making films, we don't get given any money to make the films that we make. Like, I spent, it's not a lot of money at all, 45 quid on my music video. On stationery and stamps and stuff. And that is £45 that I could have put into my channel. Like, I don't understand why people are expected to pay for this stuff. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I don't mind spending money on my projects. I bloody hope I pass.
And I understand paying some money for good quality stuff, but it's at the end of the day,
I know
there's
that
no reason why this software should be as expensive as it is.
Yeah.
I'm talking editing software specifically.
Like,
it's
as expensive as Netflix.
It makes it so difficult to start anything. And then there's like some starter tools like Filmora
like
9,
I have Filmora 10 and I love it. I was speaking to Andy about it as well. He uses Filmora X as well. Like, and we make very similar
Filmora
content.
X, like Filmora X is the more professional one.
We make very similar content.
Filmora X is the more professional one, and I find that one's okay. But I briefly used the free trial of Filmora 9.
Oh yeah, Filmora 9.
And my issue is there are some things that are just so basic that they just don't include in their software in order to make you pay for the pro version. Yeah. And that whilst they're still charging you for the version that doesn't do the correct things, like keyframing, what editing software out there doesn't have the ability to keyframe?
A lot of free ones.
Filmora fucking 9.
All of the free ones.
Well, I used Shotcut for a very long time, and it had a lot of issues. It was a glitchy mess majority of the time, but I could do anything of any other software, including keyframe, and the whole thing was free. I never paid any money for Shotcut at all. And yet there's a software out there, Filmora 9, that you pay for that you can't even do some of the most basic shit in. It's just ridiculous.
The thing I like with Filmora X is that I use Premiere Pro at uni as well, which is what like, I don't know why the first big YouTuber that came to mind was Shane Dawson, but I know for a fact that he uses it, and
pretty much every YouTuber uses Adobe.
And there was a Tangerine, the movie, was shot on an iPhone and edited on Premiere. It's quite a good movie. Like, it's industry standard, uni like to say, and I absolutely hate it because I hate Filmora. There's some software I just can't get a hang of. Like, I look at it, there's too much on the screen. It overwhelms me. And it is an autism thing, and I know that it's an autism thing because I've been told that by medical professionals, and like other autistic people that I've spoken to have had exactly the same issue with Premiere. That I have to use that for uni because it's, air quotes, industry standard. And I don't want to be an industry standard editor. I will edit my own videos, but it's not something I want to do for fun. Like, I prefer the actual filming. And I don't think...
Because honestly, this conversation is... I'm boring myself by talking about this.
Yeah.
Hello, Sean. I see you in chat.
Jasper has said in my chat that I should reach out for companies, for sensory stuff, and I have. I opened that box from Ali's sensory toy box, which they kindly sent me when I messaged them, and they were lovely. They were very, very small, like, business ran out of someone's living room in memory of someone with autism, and they're just such a lovely company. But my issue with reaching out to companies is I don't like working with companies who aren't Chewy Gem. And that's not because I'm elitist, and that's not because I only think Chewy Gem are better than everybody else, which I do anyway. It's because companies like to take advantage of creators, especially creators like me with 1,000 subscribers. If they will make you do tens of videos for free because they can get away with it, because they're a big company and you're not. That's why I don't want to reach out to any more companies.
Yeah, well,
really.
a lot of companies try and take advantage of smaller creators
Yeah.
with the promise of exposure or the promise of eventual money down the road, but it
And
never gets
I
that.
am
Anyway,
at the-
I wanted to talk about the thing because you moved on straight onto a completely different topic, and I wasn't done talking about the thing that we were already talking about. Because you mentioned how feeling overwhelmed is an autism thing, but I don't think that's an autism thing. I think that's just a normal thing. Every time I open a software that I don't know how to use, it's overwhelming. There are a lot of buttons and a lot of words and a lot of symbols that I haven't got a clue what the first meaning of. The editing software I use now, I don't even know what half the buttons do. Still. But it's about how you deal with the overwhelming. If you just give up or retreat back into yourself, then you end up faced with a situation where you just never learn the thing at all, whatever the hell the thing is. So you never actually progress. And the worst thing you can possibly do when you're attempting to do anything is not to do it.
Yeah,
which sounds really obvious. However, I'm surprised at how many people don't get that idea.
My main issue with that is that I do use it and I do play around with it. Is that at uni, they expect you to know how to do it because everybody on my, well, the majority of people on my course have used Premiere before. I am the only person that hasn't, that in my group. I've reached out to my tutor and was like, hello, I've never used this before. It's very overwhelming because I don't know whether anybody's seen the layout of Premiere Pro. There's too much on the screen at once. I don't want that in an editing software.
It is one of those where
I
once
want
you've
the tabs to be minimized.
Software, you can learn. You know how to use pretty much all of them. It's the same with musical instruments. Once you get notes, you can kind of apply them to other places. It's the same with a lot of things, like learning a language, or allegedly, I don't know. I've never tried to learn a language, but it's apparently the same. It's so maybe just try and get fluent in one editing software if Adobe's too hard, and then just figure out Adobe.
I spoke to my tutor about it today, and because my computer refused to run Premiere full stop, it took an entire 2-hour lesson for me to get this piece of shit to even open the software. My tutor has said that I'm to edit my music video on Filmora because I know how to use it, and when we are in person from next Wednesday onwards, he will sit down with me and teach me Premiere Pro, as in sit next to me on a computer, because some things are very difficult to teach and instruct when you can't look at the screen yourself. But it will be a lot easier when I am in person next week.
Yeah.
Which I did a poll on my Instagram a few hours ago. And I just asked people if they felt nervous or how comfortable they felt with going back next week. And so far it's been up for 2 hours. And I think last time I checked, 23 people clicked that they weren't comfortable. And 1 person clicked that they were. And then on the next thing, I put a questions thing with, do you know what your school, college or university have put into place to keep you safe? And I haven't had one answer that says, yes, people know.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful.
Yeah, well, the entire thing has been handled very poorly, but
Yeah. But I'm having my vaccine on
I-
Friday.
yeah.
I might make a video about it, possibly, but I don't want to invite the anti-vaxxers into my channel. That's the issue.
Yeah, I mean, you're not inviting them. They are the ones who click on the video.
I'm debating making a video just talking to people about how I feel afterwards, because I know that I'm in a lot of asthma Facebook groups because I have asthma, and a lot of the comments have been people really concerned about being poorly after it. So I think,
Yeah.
depending on how I feel after I've had it, I might make a video on it. Who knows? It depends how I feel. Mum's next.
The girl from Marvel, what does she play? I can't remember who she plays. Is playing Tiny Tina in Borderlands movie. Ariana Greenblatt, who played a minor character in Marvel.
She was young Gamora in the Guardians of the Galaxy films.
Oh yeah, she's the one.
Um,
She's the meme. She's the one in the meme, who's just like, what did it cost? That one. So yeah, that's just a nice little thing. So far we've got Kate Blanchett playing Lilith. I'm looking up all of these people as I'm talking.
Let me Google her.
Because I can't remember their faces. But we've got Kate Blanchett playing Lilith, which I can see it. I think that would work. She's also
Oh, she's in
Marvel.
Carol.
She plays.
She's in Carol.
Is
That's
she?
what I know. She thought yes.
She plays
2015,
Hela in Thor Ragnarok, which
and
was actually a very good character.
she's
very
in
good.
Lord of the Rings as well.
Is she?
Yeah, I just googled
Is she
it.
an elf? I bet you
Um,
she's an elf in Lord of the Rings.
But,
I bet any money she plays an elf. Elf. Kill me. No, yeah, she's fucking Galadriel. Of course she is. Right, okay. That's where I know her from then, because I knew I'd heard the name. And Kevin Hart, the comedian, is going to be playing Roland, which I think it would probably be a good thing.
I am really not
kinda
a
needs a
fan
comedian.
of Kevin Hart at all.
Neither
But
am I
that's-
necessarily, but I think because Borderlands, the humor of Borderlands is funny. Like, that's one of the main parts of why people like to play the game. And so having two comedians, I just saw Jack Black is playing Claptrap.
Oh yeah, I saw that the other day.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's going to be incredible.
I'm not
yes,
a fan
they,
of Kevin Hart's stand-up.
I think, well, having Jack Black is just incredible. Jack Black's amazing, and having Kevin Hart there as well. I think having two comedians on the actual cast would be a good thing for the movie.
Yeah,
I'm really worried about how it turns out. Will turn out.
same.
Personally, I think it should be a TV series and not a film.
Yeah,
But I'm kind of hoping that whatever happens with video game movies in the future, that they start getting better.
yeah.
Like the cast of this one's really good. The directors seem to be really good. Everyone who's putting effort into this film right now seems to be coming from a really good place with a good reputation and stuff, and I'm really glad about that, and I really hope that it works. But I still have yet to see a good film adaptation of a video game.
I think the one with Tom Holland in it as Nathan What's-His-Face.
Nathan Drake. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean when I say I hope that video game adaptations are going to start getting, because the generation of young actors now, which is like Tom Holland and which is Tom Holland, that generation. They're the same people who are my age now, who are actors, they, I think, they grew up playing the same video games as I did.
Yeah.
And they grew up in this world, in this generation, where video games were more like real life and more like photorealistic than they've ever been before. So
Yeah.
my hope with that is that we will actually see some really good adaptions soon within the next 10 years,
Yeah.
because we've now got a bunch of people
Um,
on that Western Hollywood movie scene who have better impressions on what video games are and how to make something creative from them.
Yeah, my main worry is that I really, really hate, like, with the Spiderwick Chronicles is the best example of this. The Spiderwick Chronicles is a children's series of books. And with the movie, they tried to put all of the books into one. And I think there was 12 books. They were one of my favourite series of books, and it merged it. And I really hope they don't attempt to do that with Borderlands. Like, put all of them in one. Because I know the Assassin's Creed movie was very bad.
Yeah.
Like, if they try to do too much in 1 2-hour film, it never goes well. So I hope they just do Borderlands 1. And that's it. And then, if it does well, they'll do a Borderlands 2. Which has the storyline of the second game.
I hope it doesn't try and mash them all together. Either it needs to be its own standalone movie with some subtle references to the film, to the games, or it needs to be the plot of Borderlands 1 but just by itself. But my issue is like they've got Lilith and Roland, and they've got Tiny Tina, and Tiny Tina's only really in 2. That might be wrong there, actually. I think maybe.
And another.
I think maybe she's in one. I'm not too sure.
And another issue, which sounds small, is
no,
that
she's not.
I
She's not
really
in one,
hope
so...
Jack Black has a robot voice. Because if Claptrap just sounds like Jack Black in School of Rock, then you're gonna lose the robot element of him. I hope that he sounds like a Tesco self-checkout, basically, is what I want. But with Jack Black. There's no trailer out for it.
Yeah, she's not. Tina's not in Borderlands 1. I just checked. So that my issue there is the fact that they are including the Borderlands 1 main characters with Borderlands 2 characters that already exist, and it's kind of like, oh god. It's like what's gonna happen with that? Because if they're just gonna mash 3 games into one or 2 games into one, it's gonna be fucking terrible.
Yeah, I really hope that
if you're gonna do something like that, then you need to make a TV show. I don't understand why no one's learnt this already. It has to be a TV show, or it has to be 1 film per 1 game or book or whatever.
Yeah.
Harry Potter, I think, was that magical book that somehow got written but just by itself.
Yeah.
That Harry Potter is the only thing I think I've seen where it's been 1 film per book, apart from the last 2, but that had 2, so it went in the opposite direction where it made 2 for a book and spread it out, which I think is probably the better way of doing it. And they are all objectively good films.
I think that it was definitely the better way of doing it, because the last book was so long, and I don't know whether I thought it was long because I was.
Oh no! It was
How old was
it
I
wasn't
when
the
that
longest.
came out? Let me Google it.
I think Goblet of Fire is the longest book.
How long was the seventh Harry Potter. Oh, Harry Potter.
What, you're gonna get gonna get it in minutes?
I was gonna get it in pages. Yeah, it's 607, which
Right.
honestly isn't that long. Now I think about it, like I read books twice that long now. But as a child, I thought it was like the longest book ever. And there was just so much in that final book that I'm very happy that they cut it into two, even if it's dead to me. Everything to do with Harry Potter is completely dead to me.
In other news,
It's World Book Day today.
CD Projekt Red has been. We went off in two completely different directions. There. Should we come back to Book Day afterwards?
Yeah.
So CD Projekt Red has been hacked recently, which I laughed there, but they don't deserve that, honestly, because all of the game devs on there, also they had all of their private information stolen and things like that. I don't really care about the company. It's a company and they'll survive. But I do feel really bad for all of the workers in it who really don't deserve the flack for any of this. I've been saying this since the start and I will continue to say it. The game devs who made Cyberpunk 2077 don't deserve to get caught up in what the executives of CD Projekt Red decide to do with their company, because they were the ones who pushed Cyberpunk 2077 out. Sony were the ones who okayed it to go on the PS4 as a glitchy mess. And at the end of the day, the game devs are the ones who got hurled abuse at and death threats on the internet, and the game devs are the ones who got their information stolen when someone hacked their company because they got too much attention, too much negative attention, I should say. And it's the game devs who are suffering, it's the game devs who lose money, and it's the game devs who lost privacy and reputation. And I just think that's so bad. Any of those game devs now, if they want to quit from CD Projekt Red because of how shit their time has been, they could then go to another company and be like, oh, hire me, and they'll just be like, oh yeah, who do you work for before? CD Projekt Red? Never mind, get the fuck out.
And
because of how fucking bad CD Projekt Red have been.
And they're the ones that will suffer, because unlike the big owners of any company, they don't have a lot of money.
No, and
a lot of games developers will work from project to project. Like, they might not have stable positions, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, they don't have stable positions, they don't have stable anything. Meanwhile, the executives will probably have sorted away from this completely fine. And have nothing really bad happen to them, other than maybe losing sales and faith in CD Projekt Red as a company. But no one's going to give a fuck about that. By the time CD Projekt Red released their next game, everyone would have completely forgotten that Cyberpunk 2077 even exists.
Yeah.
It's like I'm still excited for whatever Bethesda does next, even though they did Fallout 76, which made me want to just uninstall every game from them I've ever owned. I don't know what Bethesda is actually doing next, actually. But I'm still excited for the things that they do, even if they do butcher stuff. So, I'm still excited to see what CD Projekt Red do in the coming years.
Yeah.
But I just feel really sad that the game devs are the ones who suffer.
I hope that they don't have to suffer, because they're the little guy, and it will ruin their reputation, and reputation is everything in that sort of sector.
Yeah. Deathloop, by the way, if anyone was curious, is the next game from Bethesda. It's the next one they're publishing, anyway.
I've just read that Breath of the Wild, the Zelda game, is is 3 years old today. And how was that 3 years ago? The Switch is such a brilliant console. Like, I am obviously biased because I love Nintendo, but Nintendo are very, very good at maintaining momentum for new consoles. Unlike any other console I've ever seen, like, the Switch was released 3 or 4 years ago now. 4 years ago, sorry, Breath of the Wild, 4 years old. It was released 4 years ago now, and there's still hype about the games. Apart from the most recent Nintendo Online, we don't talk about that because they essentially called a Nintendo Online and then said, "Oh, we don't have anything to tell you." And
Wow.
it's like, why did you bother doing that? But yeah, the Switch is such a wonderful console, and the Zelda games, I haven't actually played Breath of the Wild yet because it's too expensive. But the Zelda games were what sparked my love for video games. The one on the Wii, where you had to control the horse by moving the remote up and down, was the first ever video game I finished. And
Wow.
it was incredibly difficult to control, as was everything on the Wii. But I absolutely adore The Legend of Zelda. I had Majora's Mask as well. That was a good one. I still really want the Majora's Mask edition 3DS, which is gold with a picture of the mask on it. It's very pretty.
Yeah.
But I'm not entirely sure I want to pick up Breath of the Wild yet, purely because it's too expensive. But that just shows the success of a game. Like, it's not very often that a game is 4 years old and hasn't dropped by more than a couple of quid in price. Yeah.
I feel like that's less to do with how good the game is and
the
more
Zelda
to do with the
games-
fact that it's Nintendo.
The Zelda games are just beautiful, and I'm very excited for what the series has in store.
in slightly more darker news, because I feel like we're getting too happy here. And we live in England, and as we all know, no, that turned my reverb on. I pressed the wrong button.
Oh,
Happiness is not allowed.
Jasper, just
No, let me. I'm saying. I'm trying to lead into a article here. Try not to derail me as I segue. The government are trying to force NHS workers to take the COVID vaccine. And I read that and I was just like, okay, but, you know, they should take the COVID vaccine. I am someone who believes in vaccines. I'm someone who believes that it'll work. However, further reading this, I can agree that it's actually quite worrying, because if they can force a vaccine, what else? If we allow them to force people to take that, even if they don't want to, what else will they be allowed to force in the future?
At the same time, somebody who hasn't had a vaccine and works in the healthcare profession, like if somebody worked in a hospital, for example, and they decided not to have the vaccine and are coming into contact with people who are vulnerable in hospitals every single day, they are putting their patients' lives at risk. They shouldn't be allowed to do that.
What else can they force? What else can they force? If they manage to force this vaccine, like I agree that if you're an NHS worker and you don't take the vaccine whilst you're coming into contact with other people, that you are an idiot and you don't deserve to work on the NHS.
I would
because
be
you're just putting other people's health at risk.
I would
but
be
I'm
questioning
also
someone's motivation.
worried about the fact that if they do force this, what else are they going to be able to force in the future?
Yeah, I don't think it should be the government forcing it. I feel like the NHS should say, look, if you're working for the NHS, you should want the best for the people of the UK. So if you don't get this vaccine, you clearly have the wrong motivations and shouldn't be in this line of work.
Yeah, it definitely goes against the do no harm oath. Really, doesn't it? Anyway, you were saying about Jasper, because I was just trying to rail into. I was trying to do something and I didn't want to be derailed.
Said
just as I started.
Jasper said in the chat that the Wii game that I was talking about is getting a Switch port with updated controls. So maybe I will be able to play it and actually be able to control that bloody horse, because it took me about 3 years to finish, because it's so hard to steer using. It's like using Mario Kart on motion controls, but with a horse. Yeah, so maybe I will actually be able to finish it in sooner than 3 years this time.
I also, whilst we're on video games, Little Nightmares 2 came out, which I was very excited for. It makes absolutely no fucking sense. I won't spoil anything about the game here, but if you're looking for answers, you won't get them. There aren't any. It follows exactly the same patterns as the first game, where there's just creepy monsters and disturbing imagery, and it's lovely. I'm here for that. If there's one thing I love in horror games or games that are supposed to make you feel uncomfortable, it's the monster design. Monster design is everything for me where in things like that. Like, a game can have a shit story, or in the case of Little Nightmares, fucking no story at all, and still impress me with design, with structure. I love the overarching buildings and the crooked doorways and the people that are too long or too short or too like stretched out, or their faces are all messed up or whatever. I love that kind of imagery and that kind of stuff in order to disturb and to make horror. And my favorite thing, I think, is especially in Korean horror movies like Train to Busan, is the use of unnatural movement to convey horror, like stop motion animation kind of thing that what did it do? Sweet
Wallace
Home did. Yeah, but like Wallace and Gromit, but Sweet Home, which is a very good
Netflix
Korean
series.
I want to say,
it's
horror
South
series.
Korean.
The animation in that is animated with CGI to look like stop motion, and the effect is so brilliant because like the sounds of cracking bones as things move in really unnatural ways, like I'm showing on my camera right now, and just that sort of that weird jerky motion. I'm here for it. And Little Nightmares 2, hands down, fucking brilliant horror game. I love it. That genre as well. You can do so much with that genre.
I really like
that
side
genre. Scroller. Very good.
On the subject of Train to Busan, a couple of weeks ago, my friend sent a meme in my meme group chat, which said that they are making an American remake, which goes against what's he called?
John Boone.
Yes, it goes against that very, very famous.
No, that's not the guy. Don't take that. That's not the guy. I'm thinking of the guy who did Parasite.
Him. It goes against what he said.
It's Yang Soon-ho. It's Yong Sang-ho. Sorry.
It goes against.
John Boone-ho is Parasite.
It goes against what the director of Parasite said at the Oscars. He said in his acceptance speech is the day you get past the 1-inch barrier of subtitles, you unlock an entire different world of cinema. Which
that's
is
interesting.
True, but
that's interesting, and that is true. I do agree with that. However, it's interesting that he would say that, considering he is the one who is executive producing Snowpiercer, the TV series.
Yeah, it's just so bad. But it goes against what he said about Parasite and that very, very famous quote that is up all over the walls at my uni because it's a film school. And they're remaking it. They're remaking Train to Busan with Americans, and it will kill the movie completely.
I don't think it will kill Train to Busan, the original. I just think it will be a terrible movie, but in its own right.
I think that if Americans want to make a horror movie on a train, they should make a horror movie on the train, but do a completely different one. It's not like it's a premise that couldn't be done by another culture as well. That's the beauty of it. A zombie apocalypse on a train could happen anywhere else in the world. And it doesn't necessarily have to have the same name. It could happen in the same universe. I think it would be quite nice if they did it during the same zombie apocalypse. So
if they did the
runs alongside.
It would be good as well, because you would get the because a lot of Train to Busan focuses on the South Korean societal structure. I watched a breakdown of it. There's a lot of little nuances and things, but basically the main guy is sort of represents kind of two worlds. He's doing the right thing in that culture by working hard and everything, but he's also doing the wrong thing in that culture by not being there for his daughter and everything like that. And it's about his journey, and he meets different types of people within South Korean culture.
Yeah, like
these characters represent things.
There's some.
So I think a Western version of that would also be interesting if it does it well and it highlights the issues in Western society in the same way. However, I can't see it happening. Not gonna lie, what I see happening is some big shot in America picking it up, pumping a shit ton of money into it, and being like, do this, do that, and by the end of it, it makes a massive loss because it's just doesn't convey any meaning at all.
Yeah,
or anything different from the original.
I can see them butchering it, which is a shame because it's not gonna be good, because unless of course they decide to listen to the people that are telling them, hey, maybe don't remake that film and do one based around American culture, because American culture, although very different to Korean culture, has similar morals. Like, you look after your children. Your children come before anything. Is a similar moral that they have. So if they keep that, but change...
I don't think they're going to do it well.
If they keep that
yeah.
and change, like, the types of people, like, instead of the group that play sports on the train that they encounter in Train to Busan, they could encounter a frat party or something. Like,
yeah, that could be interesting, but then all you're doing is creating the same movie.
Yeah, but I don't know.
All you're doing is creating a same movie, but catering to the English audience. Which, by the way, if you are watching this now, or you're watching this back on our archive channel, and you do what I used to do, because I am guilty of this as well, where you see that a movie has subtitles and you don't want to listen to the dub because all the audio's out of sync, but you don't want to read the movie. If that's the thing that stops you from watching some of these films, just get over yourself. Because some of the best films, some of the best films and TV I have ever watched, and I can, this is not hyperbole, this is the truth, ever in my entire life. I've watched a lot of movies, and some of the best are all not English. They all are subtitled. Every single one.
To an extent, if you have issues with reading and you have learning difficulties.
I
then,
mean, yeah, that is a thing.
yeah,
But
that
if you, I imagine if you have issues with being able to read what's on screen, you're gonna be more audio focused anyway, which is where dubs do come in
Yeah.
handy. I'm just talking about the people who can read. Just if you can read what's on the screen, read it, because experiencing these films in the language that they were recorded in and the language that they're meant to be in is so much more powerful than listening to an out of sync audio dub. And it's just a whole different experience. Pan's
Yeah.
Labyrinth
And-
was great. Train to Busan, incredible. Sweet Home is a TV show I've watched recently. Fucking love that shit. Parasite is probably one of the best movies of
last
certainly-
decade, definitely.
yeah. I
was-
didn't know if the last decade was an over exaggeration, but it certainly is.
It
up there.
was, and it's with Parasite. It's not just a movie, which it is. It is a movie, but it's also a piece of history, really, because it's the first time that a non-English speaking movie has ever won at the Oscars. And whether you're into film awards or not, which personally I like watching the movies, but I will never watch a ceremony because they're all rigged. It's history, and it's brought on people that I know anyway have gone out and watched Parasite.
Can I just say, Laurie Buttons, thanks for the follow. Sorry to interrupt. Carry on, Jasper.
People that I know anyway have watched Parasite and then thought, hang about a minute, that was good, I'll watch something else.
Yeah.
And then it's inspired a whole generation, and it's told other cultures that they can succeed in the film industry. And
Casper, I'm gonna show you something on my stream now. Can you just navigate to my stream quickly, because I want to show you this, but I'm gonna show my stream as well, so everyone can see what I'm talking about. You might want to mute me so that your stream doesn't hear me twice.
can't find you.
Let me get this up.
Oh, I type.
I've just looked up photos. Well, I just looked up the movie on IMDb of Parasite, and I just looked up him, Bong Joon-ho at the awards ceremony, and just look how fucking happy this man is.
He's just
just look how happy he is for this, and I'm just like, this is just incredible. And you're right, it is a piece of history, and these photos are just quite inspiring, really.
and
I just love it.
He's just
just
such
look at that. He's just so happy, and I'm so here for it.
He's
Like, what
just
is this
such-
photo? I just
he's
love
just
this.
such a lovely man
that
who
one.
directed a bloody good film.
Oh,
I liked the one on the train, but it wasn't my favourite. I was speaking to my friend about Snowpiercer, actually, because she
Snowpiercer. that's
she
the one,
started watch. She's on my Netflix for context, and she uses my name occasionally. And she saw that we watched half an episode of it on my name.
The TV
And then-
show.
and then she texted-
Just for context,
Yeah,
if
the
you haven't
TV
seen
show.
either of these, there is a film directed by Bong Joon-ho.
His first
and
film,
there
if I
is-
remember rightly.
It might be his first film where he's writer, director, and producer. I'm
Yeah.
not too sure. And then there is also a TV show which is nowhere near as good so far from what I saw, but I
Yeah.
couldn't get into
And,
it. After seeing the film. Anyway, go on.
and-
What are you saying?
My friend texted me because she saw that we'd seen half of an episode, and she texted me like, "Don't watch any more of it." And I was like, "What? Why?" And she was like, "Because it was the most dull thing she's ever watched." She watched it with her mum, and her mum really, really likes detective movies and
Yeah.
detective stuff. So they watched it, thinking it was going to be like Luther. If you don't know what Luther is, it's a BBC detective show. It's very good.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah,
just
so
said that
Yeah. Go on.
that the movie was a lot better, and she said that with the movie you get a shock when you first see them move up the train, because they move up classes basically.
Yeah.
You get the shock when you first see the middle class and the upper class. You're like, oh my god, I wasn't expecting that. But in the series, what killed it for my friend who watched more of it than us is that they showed that straight away. And when you take away that impact, that seeing the upper classes compared to the slums that the lower classes are living in, you take away most of the excitement of the film.
Yeah, and I found it from what I saw so far. Anyway, I'm not. I say so far. I'm not gonna watch any more of it. It's just it sounds awful. It was awful. But the main guy, he's like a detective, and that's the whole like the premise is like. It's almost like a crime show, and
Yeah.
it's just like
But
if I
not
wanted
a
this, I'd just
good
watch
crime
fucking
show.
CSI or something. Like I don't care about this. I care about like the world that Bong Joon-ho built in the first place,
And, like-
and the story he was trying to tell, and the class divides and all this kind of stuff. And I was there for that, and that the movie of Snowpiercer is just so incredible with the message it has and how it says it.
Yeah, like
That I just don't think a TV series is an Americanized TV series is the way to go. Like
It's a good-
the
it's a
original
good
the original
movie.
one was kind of Americanized, but it still was. It had that feel to it, you know.
yeah. Jasper has just said that he feels like he's one of the people who didn't like Parasite. One of the only people who didn't like Parasite, and I don't get why everybody loved it. I didn't think it was bad. It just went over my head. I would rewatch it if you didn't get it the first time. I get that. I was the same. If you rewatch it with an understanding of what the film is about, you will get it and you will enjoy it a lot more. I enjoyed it a lot more on the second rewatch.
Yeah. There are
Personally,
some
like,
things that
there's-
do go over your head the first time, but I just think it's just such an emotional film. I want to watch it again. Actually,
It's
sometime
on
this year,
Amazon
'cause
Prime,
I don't
actually.
watch. I don't rewatch movies often, but when I do, they are the good movies.
Yeah.
They are the movie. But I tend to watch them at like maybe a year apart if I do have movies that I rewatch.
Yeah.
Um,
I've seen Parasite
Yeah.
twice. Once when we went to see it just after it won the Oscar. And I remember that the cinema was packed. And, like, I don't think I will ever see a foreign film with a full, with a full cinema ever again in my life.
a full British audience for a
In-
foreign film.
in
like,
a
we're notorious
in a
for,
non-independent
like,
cinema. Like,
we like as a country we get taken the piss out of and take the piss out of ourselves a lot for being notorious about these darn foreigners, that whole fucking
Yeah.
British stereotype. And to see a cinema packed full of people all here for this this non-English film was really
And,
powerful,
like,
and it was
it
a really
was-
powerful movie.
it was really nice because I sat there, like, and it's not often that you see a foreign movie, a foreign language movie, even shown in mainstream cinemas. Like, I am quite concerned about whether I'm going to be able to see foreign language cinema, and the sort of stuff they showed at home, like independent cinema. I'm quite concerned that I'm not going to be
Home is
able.
independent cinema in Manchester for anyone who doesn't know.
I'm quite concerned that I'm not going to be able to go and see independent cinema like I could in Manchester and Brighton. And I know the world has a million more important things to be worrying about right now, but that is a concern.
Oh, on that note, I'm tired and I want to end the podcast
Yeah,
now. Bye.
on that note, I want to go and get some tea, really, because it's now at 6 o'clock. and
Yeah.
I
Right. Thanks for
haven't eaten
joining. Thanks
for
for people
5
giving a
hours.
chance. Thanks for the follow, Laurie Buttons. I didn't sound very enthusiastic at the time, but I didn't want to interrupt the podcast. And thank you, Casper, for joining me.
Yep.
Can we make food now? I'm actually.
Thank
hungry. I wanna
you
go sleep.
for joining
Bye.
me, and I will see you next time.